If there's one common downfall of any developer, it's delivering a video game story that underwhelms. Whether that's due to a bizarre story diversion, an overtly abrupt climax, I wouldn't know anything about that oi oi, or a glitch that was the result of planned content being removed from the game prior to launch. Usually a botched story that's got bigger holes than the Grand Canyon typically comes down to either being the result of time or money or both, with publishers wanting a game released in time for their quarterly shareholder meeting. And hey, editing happens all the time, and ideas have to be scrapped to keep on schedule, but sometimes cutting something from a video game can be significant enough to have a knock-on effect with the rest of the experience. I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com, and these are 9 deleted scenes that explain confusing gaming moments. Number 9. Master Chief teams up with the Arbiter, Halo 2. As fantastic a game as Halo 2 was and is, fans were largely left bemused and unsatisfied by the comically abrupt conclusion to its campaign, which ends with Master Chief heading back to Earth and insisting that he's going to, quote, finish the fight before we cut to black. The agonizing cliffhanger was a huge source of frustration for fans eager to see a conclusion to the story. But since Halo 2's release, the challenging nature of its development has been well documented in countless interviews with the dev team. One of the game's composers, Bungie vet Marty O'Donnell, opened up a few years ago about what was originally intended for Halo 2's finale. That being Master Chief venturing onto Earth, discovering the Ark of the Covenant, and joining forces with the Arbiter to defeat the Prophet of Truth. According to O'Donnell, voice work was even completed for the more expansive ending, but Microsoft's insistence to ship the game before Christmas 2004 meant that it simply couldn't be finished in time. So while on paper Halo 2's ending might have seemed like a cynical attempt to ensure players bought Halo 3, the third act of the game was genuinely supposed to have a more concrete conclusion. Number 8. The Thanksgiving Day Parade, Ghostbusters the video game. Ghostbusters the video game is one of the better executed gaming adaptations of an existing IP, though there are 2 eyebrow-raising moments that nevertheless left fans mystified. For starters, Mayor Mulligan gives the Ghostbusters a dressing down for ruining his library, museum, and parade, despite the fact that there's no parade featured in the game. Elsewhere, a cutscene includes brief news footage of all supernatural hell breaking loose again at a parade, something we still have no context for. Weird. However, this is because the game originally featured a level set during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, where the various floats at the parade turned into ghosts, and the level concluded with the Ghostbusters fighting Blinkers, the science pup, who was briefly featured in the aforementioned news report. Tech demo footage eventually made its way online, which in conjunction with a few cutscenes from the level that were data mined from the game's disc, suggest it was pretty far along in development before getting the chop. It looked kind of fantastic, so it's a damn shame we never got to play it. Number 7. The Elusive Man boss fight, Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 3's ending was a cataclysmic mess of confusion and irritation, as players discovered that their decisions across the trilogy ultimately amounted to pick a colour, any colour. More to the point, the expected final boss fight with the Elusive Man is nothing more than a simple dialogue exchange, and the last combat encounter in the game is of course against the legendary Marauder Shield, may he rest in peace. But in a post-release interview, Mass Effect 3's director Casey Hudson confirmed that the player did originally face off against a Reaper-indoctrinated version of the Elusive Man before being able to activate the Crucible and end the game. Ultimately though, this was scrapped for being, wait for it, too video gamey. Sorry boys, this here video game is just too darn video gamey. Number 6. Drag Racing Gran Turismo 2. This isn't quite a deleted scene as such, but it's nevertheless a planned piece of gameplay that got the chop and subsequently left a baffling gap in the game's overall logic. Like any racing game worth its salt, Gran Turismo 2 of course tracks your progress through with a percentage counter. Yet in the original NTSC run of the title, players were only ever able to reach a total of 98.20% completion. Naturally, this left many players infuriated at having 1.8% left despite beating everything the game had to offer. And given that every race accounted for about 0.45% of completion, it meant there were still 4 races missing from the title. Fans who data mined the game found compelling evidence that drag racing was cut from the title late in development, which would of course explain the mathematical error. However, because GT2 was released in 1999, a patch was out of the question, and the issue was only remedied when Sony began to manufacture a new version of the game which fixed the percentage counter. Number 5. Lara kills Amanda, Tomb Raider Underworld. 2008's Tomb Raider Underworld was the final mainline entry into the franchise until its 2013 reboot, and concluded with Lara Croft going her separate ways from her former friend and current enemy, Amanda Everett. But Lara choosing to forgive and spare Amanda didn't really feel consistent or earned by Amanda's duplicitous behaviours throughout the game, and many fans were left unhappy that Lara didn't try to tie up the loose end, especially as the reboot ensured Amanda would never be seen again in this franchise. Fans felt the ending was a little off, and that was with good reason, because the game originally delivered exactly what they wanted. The original ending, data mined from the game itself, occurs after Lara and Amanda exit the Nepalese temple, and Amanda makes one final attempt to kill Lara, proving her true colours beyond any doubt in the process. In an extremely badass, deliciously callous fashion though, Lara then shoots Amanda in the leg and leaves her to the elements, implying that Amanda will almost certainly die of exposure, and quite soon. Number 4. RAZIEL kills KAIN, Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. Crystal Dynamics strike again with the legendary PS1 action-adventure classic Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, a wonderful title that nevertheless left players baffled by its total non-event of an ending. The game concludes with the villainous Kain nicking off through a time portal, with the player character RAZIEL then following suit. And that's it, the end. You can practically hear the developers screaming, "Please buy Soul Reaver 2, please, 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 please." Like Halo 2, it's easy to sneer at the developers for a perceived cash grab cliffhanger ending, but if reports from members of the dev team can be believed, they bit off way more than they could chew with the project, and originally had far loftier plans which had to be reined in during production. In fact, almost half of the game's planned areas had to be cut, in addition to numerous NPCs, bosses, and player abilities, as well as an extended ending which brought greater closure to the story. This original ending saw RAZIEL kill KAIN and head to the Silent Cathedral, where he battled a horde of vampires before eventually reaching the cathedral's pipes, which he would activate in order to kill every single vampire residing in the land of Nosgoth. Number 3. CARLA falls for Lucas over time, Fahrenheit. David Cage's Fahrenheit, aka Indigo Prophecy, kickstarted his and Quantic Dream's successful run of interactive drama games, but also became infamous for its, well, shall we say, more intimate moments. Fahrenheit revolves around Lucas Kain, a man who becomes possessed by supernatural forces and compelled to commit murder in a New York City diner, sending him on the run as the cops, headed up by committed detective CARLA Valenti, chase him down. But inevitably, Lucas and CARLA's paths cross, and in hilariously rushed fashion, the two end up falling in love and bumping uglies. However, it was never convincing that CARLA, a cop shown to be extremely dedicated to her job, would suddenly get feelings and declare her love for Lucas within such a limited amount of time. Various Quantic Dream employees have spoken about Fahrenheit's development over the years though, with the common thread being that the game's money-conscious development resulted in hours of planned story content being unfinished as its release date approached. And that is why CARLA's turn seems so aggressively manufactured. There's no guarantee that the missing scenes would have been great or even good, but contriving a love story out of nothing was never part of the plan. It was supposed to happen over hours rather than over minutes. Number 2, Episode 51, Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. Metal Gear Solid 5's best of series gameplay can't entirely cover for the fact that the game was shipped to stores without an actual ending. Though the final boss fight sees Venom Snake defeat the proto-Metal Gear known as Philanthropus, the machine is subsequently stolen by young Eli, aka Liquid Snake, in a plot point that's never expanded upon or resolved. Reaching the game's ending requires a frustrating amount of busy work, revealing an absolutely crazy twist that Venom Snake wasn't even Big Boss at all. Without sufficient context or follow-through, the twist felt like a trolling mic drop, and fans were uniformly upset that Hideo Kojima would end the game in such an absurdly unsatisfying fashion, given how well he tied off the previous games in the series. However, the collector's edition of MGS5 contained behind-the-scenes footage of the game's original intended ending, a 51st chapter called Kingdom of the Flies. The mission saw Snake chasing Eli to Central Africa, where he was holed up with Salanthropus, a young psycho mantis, and other child soldiers like himself. An epic battle would ensue between Diamond Dog's XOF and Salanthropus, leading to the Metal Gear's eventual destruction and a napalm strike being ordered to hit the island and annihilate the vocal cord parasites residing there. Yep, this plot was absolutely mad, but this would have tied almost everything up. Number 1. The completed palaces and other missing content, Secret of Mana. Square's legendary 1993 RPG Secret of Mana is one of the most influential entries into its genre. A wonderfully imaginative game that nevertheless could have been so much more. Though rose-tinted nostalgia makes it easy to forgive and even forget the game's design, let's say, eccentricities, there are countless bizarre moments which undermine its brilliance. Once the player gains access to Flamey, a dragon who can be used to fly around the map, the game bizarrely ceases to be any fun, with the story and character work taking a backseat to monotonous busywork, namely working your way through a series of repetitive, whiplash-inducing palace levels. That's not to ignore the abundance of glitches and incomplete animations during battles, which can be bad enough to require a complete reset. These issues, though, were a result of the game being originally designed for the SNES CD add-on, but after Nintendo and Sony's collaboration on the device went kaput, Sony reworked it into the PlayStation. As a result, Secret of Mana had to be forced onto a regular SNES cartridge, causing an estimated 40% of the game's planned content to be nixed, including a big chunk of the script, specifically a branching narrative, as well as numerous minigames and graphical assets. Specifically, the aforementioned palaces were supposed to be teeming with things to do, but their ultimately barren nature was just another casualty of an unfortunate business mishap. So that's our list. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you think these deleted scenes should have been left in the game, and would they have improved these titles in your opinion? Either way, while you're down there, could you give us a like, share, subscribe, and head over to WhatCulture.com for more lists and news like this every single day. Even if you don't though, I've been Josh, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.